So our top three are guided by research or evidence, inclusive of all parties, clear shared vision. Now, 20 minutes ago, I had no idea what you felt as a group of people about what are the key characteristics of leadership for innovation and change. What we've done is each of you have had exactly the same democratic right to vote as everybody else. Everyone's been listened to with authenticity. You've all had exactly the same number of votes. And I now know that the consensus of this group at this moment in time is that the three most important characteristics of leadership for innovation and change are being guided by research or evidence, being inclusive of all parties, and having a clear shared vision. So, thank you and congratulations. You did a really good job together. So, there we go.
So, would you run?
Can you hold the mic, please?
I'm just asking if you've ever run this process where, with the shortlisted one, have you then run it again with the 10-4, or you've just...
Beg your pardon?
Have you ever run the process a second time with the shortlisted ones, like the ones that have got the votes, and then have done the 10-4 again?
What we do is, in a day with the staff of the school, if there's probably 30 staff in the school, by the time you bring in parent representatives and whatever else, community representatives, cultural representatives, whatever, there might be about 50 people. They'll work in groups of 7 or 8, so you might have about 7 groups. Each group gives their top 3 ideas. We sit with the principal in the central tally room. The principal doesn't vote. They've got to trust the staff, so the principal has no votes. All those votes come into the central tally room, and we take the top ideas from each group and put them onto a master list. So for this probe, we'd have your 3 and the 3 from all of the other 8 groups here. And we put them together, and we make a decision about any things that are exactly the same, because they would split the vote. Then we give them back to you, and you have a quiet, private vote, not 10-4 voting, just you've got 10 votes to put wherever you like, on the best of the best ideas from every group. Because sometimes, something from another group, you might say, oh, I wish we'd thought of that, it's such a good idea. So you want to get the best of the best, and then the staff have a private vote, and then we add up all of that, and so we get the top 3 ideas from each of the 8 questions. That gives us 24 sentences, 3 from each of 8 probes, 8 questions. And then we get a group of writers who overnight write a draft of a shared vision for the school, using the exact words of the team. So we have a clear shared vision, we're guided by research or evidence, and we're inclusive of all parties. Now we'd blend those together with the ideas from everybody else. And across 8 questions, which cover all the key components of life in your school or life in your company or life in your football team, we cover all the aspects, and we write a 1-page shared vision written in the present tense as if we're living it today. And if you want to see Rebecca at Bersica, she can show you the shared vision they formed 8 years ago, and they're still living that shared vision. It still gives them alignment to everything they're doing in the school. Now, some people say to us, why shouldn't the principal vote? This is about practicing servant leadership. It's about the leader trusting their staff. It gives you the added wonderful benefit that in the middle of the following year, when you're working towards a shared vision, and a staff member comes up to you and says, oh, I'm sick of that shared vision of yours, you say, wait a minute, how many votes did I have? Oh, you had none. And how many votes did you have? Oh, I had 10 votes, 8 times 80, and then I had 160 votes. So you had 160 votes and I had none. Whose shared vision is it? It's beautiful.
It's also true around that ownership if a principal leaves.
Yep.
I was thinking it's around that ownership. If a principal leaves and a new one comes in, it's not that principal taking that, it's The school owns that.
That's right. If a Rebecca was to leave, that school would still work that shared vision. And if a principal came in and said, oh, blow that, I'm going to insert my vision, they'd have a fight on their hands. Now, we've got a school in New Zealand who knew their principal was leaving, and the board said, we want to form the shared vision while this principal's here, and then we'll use the shared vision to help us appoint the next principal. Of course, we'll send all the applicants, this is what our school and our community want, how can you help us live this? So they're using it to help them appoint their new principal, which I think makes a really good sense. But you're right, what you don't want is the thing to be just the province of the principal. You want every voice to be heard. And what Bill learnt is when you give your power away, it comes back 10 times over. Bill's the most powerful leader I've ever seen, and he had no votes in the shared vision. All he did was help the staff and the community make the vision a reality. That's his job as a leader. If this is what you want in this community, for your families, your children, I will help you do it. And that's his job as a leader. And he was so powerful when he'd given all his power away. Simple. Any other questions you've got? See the power of the process? Yeah. Have you? Yeah. Yeah, that's why I thought we'd demonstrate a probe for you so you get a feel for what it's like to be in a democratic, totally open democratic process with no discussion, everyone being heard equally. And that woman from Christchurch who said, when voices are heard that are usually stilled. In that school there used to be bullies on the staff who would stand up and say, we think this is a staff, we think that is a staff, and the other staff would sort of go, they were a bit scared of them, they wouldn't say anything. This process, that person still has their voice, but they have one voice equally with every other member of staff. So the most junior member of staff sits there next to the most experienced member of staff, next to the deputy principal, next to a head of department. They all have exactly the same vote. Can you use the mic, please?
So in your New Zealand schools, that's happening with children as well, students as well?
Beg your pardon?
Is it happening with the students as well to form that?
It varies. What we say is if you're going to do a shared vision, you need to decide who in your community should come to the vision creation day. Some schools say we only want the teaching staff. That's it. Some schools say we want all the staff, the secretaries, the groundsmen, the teacher aides, everyone. Other schools say we want all the staff and the board members and cultural leaders from our community, business leaders from our community, student representatives of the current students, some past students to come back. We want, whoever. The people you invite to your Vision Creation Day tells the school community whose voices are important. So you need to think about who you invite. And we don't design that. It's completely up to you who you invite. All we say is be careful about having more outsiders. No, that's not the right word, is it? Having more non-teachers there than teachers. If the teachers get swamped, if there's 15 teachers and there's 30 other people, they can feel like, yeah, our voice is a bit too muted. So, but again, yeah, yep. So it's up to you who you invite. But boy, I'll tell you, when you create these shared visions, that school's been running 8 years. To go back into that school and think what it was like 8 years ago, I mean, do you know how Berserker has changed? You want to talk a bit about, tell us how it's changed. What have you seen that's different at Berserker after 8 years with a shared vision?
Well, walking through the school now, it's a calm learning place. There's not students out during class time. Previously, 8 years ago, students were disengaged. They weren't in classes learning. There was probably a lot of antisocial behaviour happening.
Yep.
Whereas now when you visit, it's very purposeful They're engaged, kids are in classrooms learning, teachers are teaching. There's a positive vibe from the community, the school community, about what's happening within their school.
You want to talk a little bit about what you see? Anyone else that goes to Berserker? We've seen a massive change. It's really impressive. And the thing is, the shared vision is like a gift that keeps giving. They're still using it to help them align, to make resource decisions, staff decisions, pedagogy decisions. Now, you can, if you have a high staff turnover, sometimes you might say, hey, a third of our staff have turned over, a lot of our parents have turned over, maybe we should revisit and do a new shared vision. That's perfectly okay. So some schools do that. But a lot of schools, we've got schools in New Zealand, been going 12 years and they're still loving their shared vision, driving it, moving forward. It's nice to form a picture and then actually see it appear. There it is in lived reality. We had this dream and we thought, no chance, and here we are, 8 years, 9 years later, and it's there. It's real. We got a school in Brisbane, Cannon Hill Primary School. And in their shared vision, they said something I've never seen in shared vision before, which was, we will base all of our decisions on our own observations of our children. It was in their vision. They searched the world to try to find out how they could turn that vision, turn their current reality into that vision. They found a place in Italy called Reggio Emilia. They got money, grant money, sent staff to Reggio Emilia in Italy. They've brought Reggio Emilia back and Cannon Hillised it, made it their own. You go into that school now, the stuff you see there would make you want to weep. The beauty of the work of the children, and it's all based on their observations of the children, which is what they committed to all those years ago. It's mind-boggling. If you want to go to an amazing school, Cannon Hill Primary School in Brisbane, Chris Ling is the principal. It is amazing, the change in that school. Absolutely amazing. Nothing to do with us. All we do is help you create the vision you want and then help you turn it into reality. It's got nothing to do with us. We're just agents to help you. And we believe that's the way change in schools should happen. Not someone saying, here's what the research says, you must do that. No, you do your own research. You find out what you think from the world of research. And you know your school, you know your kids, you know your parents. I don't know your school. I don't know your context. I'm a good researcher, but I'm a novice in your context. So you never want to trust me or someone like me from outside. Any other questions? Hey, you've been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Saw me coming. Time to collect ideas.
Okay.